Good evening to you, East Alabama, West Georgia. Dr. Don back in here with you in the Dr. Don's Weather Center. The Shepherd's Weather Center as we watch this big, nasty mess of rain move across East Alabama and West Georgia. I think I've got a tidbit of good news for you, especially from I-85 north in East Alabama. Things are looking better. The rain shield on the northern side of now Tropical Storm Sally has not been as pronounced as it has been in the center and southern parts of what's left of Sally. So the rain has not been nearly as significant north of I-85 or maybe a little bit north of 85 and to the north. Places like northern Chambers, northern Tallapoosa, Coosa, and up into Clay, Randolph, Cleburne, over into Carroll. You guys have not received the rainfall amounts that we have seen down in Lee County, Russell County, Pike, and back down to the Florida border. And I think that trend's going to continue. I've just been looking over some rainfall totals from some weather stations across the area, and I'm just going to kind of go down this list so you can get an idea of how much rain we have seen. This is since midnight last night. Bacon Level has only received about 3/4 of an inch of rain. Roxton, about the same. Corinth, about the same. Lake Wedowee, just a shade over a half inch. Swag Community, about a half inch. Pine Grove over in extreme eastern Clay County, about a half inch. And in contrast, Valley has seen 2 inches of rain. Auburn has seen right at 3 inches of rain. LaGrange, about an inch. And then when we look down in South Alabama, where the center of Sally is moving through, Luverne, Alabama, which is south of Montgomery, has already recorded a little over 8 inches of rain. Montgomery, about 4 inches. Troy, Alabama, about 10 inches of rain. And then when we go down to a location called Little Creek Subdivision, which is between Orange Beach and Guff Breeze, down around Guff Shores. Since all this started, they have received about 22 inches of rain. So we go from 22 inches of rain along the Gulf Coast to about a half inch of rain in Clay County. So that kind of gives you the a range of what we're looking at. And here's the latest information from the National Hurricane Center. This was as of 7 p.m., about 41 minutes ago. Tropical Storm Sally was located about 70 miles west-northwest of Dothan, Alabama, about 23 miles southwest of Montgomery, or 119 miles southwest of Roanoke, Alabama, or 88 miles southwest of Columbus. Maximum sustained winds now are at 45 miles per hour, and Sally continues her trek to the northeast at about 7 miles per hour. So her forward motion hasn't picked up that much. But the overall rain shield to the north has deteriorated some. Now, it is still going to rain for several more hours across East Alabama, including Cleburne, Clay, Randolph, Talladega, Coosa, Tallapoosa, Chambers, Elmore, Montgomery, over to Lee County. But the heaviest rainfall right now, and just as I say that, on that last volume scan update, let me get stopped here. And let me zoom in. We do have very heavy rainfall stretching now from Grantville down to just north of LaGrange and over into Chambers County to around Lafayette. And that is moving to the northwest. So you folks down there in southern Randolph, I'm talking Rock Mills, Bacon Level, Standing Rock, Roanoke, even back over to Dickert, Corinth, Wadley. This entire area, this red area that you see, is rotating in your general direction. So that is some very heavy rainfall that will be moving into southern Randolph County here in the next few minutes. And we still have a ways to go. As you can see, back down I-85, back down to Montgomery. The back edge of it about to move into southern Montgomery, but the eye, what's left of Sally, is located about right here. I know that's not a good drawing, but let's try that one more time. Let's just do a circle. Because my art skills, I didn't pick those up too good when I was in kindergarten. It hasn't gotten any better. But that's what's left of Sally right there. That's the eye of what's left of Sally, or the center of circulation. There really is not an eye. But this is what remains of the center of circulation between Troy and Ozark, about to move over Clio. And that's going to continue to move in this general direction. So what's left of the center of circulation will move right over Eufaula. Maybe just south of Columbus, or maybe right over Columbus. And then continue into Georgia, up around Butler, eventually moving right over Macon. And continuing through the night, we'll cross out of Georgia into South Carolina, somewhere around or just north of Augusta. But the red and the orange, those are the areas of heavy rainfall. Yeah, it's raining pretty good where you see the yellows and the greens, but that red and orange is just torrential rainfall. And so you can pick out where you are on the map, and all of this stuff is the entire area moving to the northeast, but the individual rain bands are kind of spiraling to the north and back to the northwest. Now, the other good news for South Georgia, just as I thought it would, things have calmed down there. The pink areas that you see are tornado watches that are still in effect. But as you can see, we have no red polygons on the map, so there are no tornado warnings down here in South Georgia. We had multiple tornado warnings down here this afternoon, but as we lost the heating of the day, these storms have calmed down some. They're still significant, but we don't see any rotation going on. I mean, there's broad rotation, but we don't see any tight rotation, which is indicative of a tornado. But those storms about to move into Brunswick. They'll be moving on up later on this evening, up to around Savannah, Tybee Island, Jekyll Island. All of these places will be getting some heavy thunderstorms throughout the night, but right now, nothing severe. So, as it looks right now, after watching this rain move through the area since about noon today, and the fact that we're not even over an inch of rain in most locations in Randolph County, and that's probably about to change when this big red blob moves into southern Randolph. I mean, you can pick up a quick 1 to 2 inches of rain out of this. I mean, we're talking 40, there's a 41, 43. Let's see if there's any 50s in there. I don't see any. There's some down here. You see that just east of Troy. That's 53 dBZs. There's 56. That's like just unbelievable rain. But you get up here, this band that's about to move through northern Chambers and up into southern Randolph, you got some 42s and 43s, maybe a 44 or two there. So that is significant rainfall. And with that kind of rain, you could pick up a quick inch and a half of rain when this moves through. So your rain totals are going to go up. It's just that I don't think now that we're going to see anywhere close to the 6 to 8 inches that was possible up here on the northern end of our coverage area. Now, down here on the southern end of our coverage area, that's still a possibility. But I think the 6 to 8 inch rainfall totals across Alabama, when this is all said and done with, is going to be right along this big track here. This is the culprit. This is where the 6 to 8 inch rainfalls are taking place. So probably from Troy back down to over to Eufaula and points north. Maybe Columbus is going to be the area where we see 6 to 8 inches when all this is said and done. Up here in the north end of our coverage area, Chambers, Randolph, Clay, Tallapoosa, we're probably, after we get through with this thing, going to probably end up in the 2 to 4 inch category, which is exactly what I thought we would see when all this started. And then the National Weather Service threw those big numbers in there and kind of got me a little gun shy, so I went with their numbers. But I felt all along that 2 to 4 inches was going to be very common across most of our areas across East Alabama and West Georgia, and I think that's what we're going to end up with. Let me take the internet shot because this is downtown Auburn, and you can let me see here. Let me zoom in on Auburn. I know it's hard to see in that small box there. That's the Auburn area right there. I've got the circle around it. And you can see there's lots of red there in Auburn. So what you're looking at on the screen right there is what you're probably going to see across northern Chambers, well, from Lafayette north up to 5 Points, and then eventually moving up into southern Randolph County. We've got some of the same type looking stuff over Troup County, also over Valley and Lynette, down there around Columbus, some of the same stuff down there around Tuskegee. So this is what you can expect, and as you can see, it is raining pretty hard in downtown Auburn, and you can see that the wind's a little gusty there too. I haven't really seen any major wind gust anywhere across the area checking the weather stations. Montgomery had a gust of 23 earlier this afternoon. Luverne and the center of circulation came very close to Luverne, Alabama. It's there now. Their peak wind gust about 23 miles per hour. Troy did have a gust of 32. Bacon level reported the last time I looked, gust or wind out of the east-northeast at 7. Auburn was out of the northeast at 18. So, I mean, that's pretty common, and that I think the winds are definitely right where we thought they were going to be. Oh, let's don't get Pee Wee started again. Tim's asking a question about Woodland. Yeah, Woodland, you're in the same shape as everybody else. I think you're going to end up with about 2 inches of rain by the time everything is said and done. The further north you go, away from the center of circulation, which is down there below Montgomery, the further north you go, the less rain you're going to have. So even from southern Randolph County to northeast Randolph County, from Roanoke to Woodland, I think there's going to be a sizable difference in the total rainfall. With this band that's moving into southern Randolph right now, 1 inch to 2, a quick pickup of 1 inch to 2 inches of rain, certainly plausible. I'm not sure that makes it all the way up into Woodland. We'll see. It's possible. So there could be an inch or two difference between what you see in Woodland versus what you see in Roanoke by the time we finish this. And on the pace that she's moving right now, I mean, it's 8 o'clock Central. I think we have another 2, maybe 3 hours to go of the heavy rain. It's going to continue to shower on and off all night long, but I would venture to say that by midnight, the heaviest rainfall will probably be out of East Alabama and moving on over into central Georgia. And that's all great news, folks, because there was a time there, if Sally had stayed together a little bit better, we could have been dealing with this for the entire overnight and into half of tomorrow. But Sally is she is falling apart quickly. And that the rain rates are coming down fairly quickly. And, yeah, well, I guess that's what you do in a college town. Those folks running out there in the rain. But it's she's just not as potent at this point in the ball game as we thought she might be. And that is a good thing. Lots of rain in Chester, Georgia. Absolutely. Pee-wee. Boo, Auburn. War Eagle. That's boom, Auburn, not boo. Left the M off of it. Yeah, Robin Hall, you aren't kidding. We've come a long way since 1992 with technology. Robin's referring to the fact that when I moved to Randolph County, for those of you that are not familiar, my job there was working at the radio station. And at that time, it was in that little bitty building out there on North Main Street at the intersection of North Main and Highway 22, right across from the Learning Center. And I think Hurricane Andrew, and I believe Robin and I had this discussion a couple of months ago when we were talking, but I believe it was Hurricane Andrew was the first major weather event we had after I moved to Randolph County. And the radio station had just gotten a radar system. It was called DTN. I'll never forget it as long as I live. You talking about a kid on Christmas morning. I sat there for days staring at that radar screen, just waiting for a drop of rain to move over Roanoke, Alabama, so I could see it on that radar. I'll never forget it. That was pretty cool. And now here we are with high-def radar and major improvements over what we had back in the day. Thank you, Brenda. Thank you, Sybil. Cliff is watching with Pee-wee Terry. Janice Jones. There's Katie King. All these comedians out of work and Pee-wee's trying to be funny. Chambers County, you got tons of rain, especially on the north end of Chambers County. Let me clear the telestrator. And let's go back up to Chambers. You can see right there that we have very heavy rainfall from Lafayette up to about Pennon, and then back over to Holiday Park, and then over into Troup County to a point just north of LaGrange. 85 is just a washout, folks. Don't even consider that. Heavy rain down there around Lynette, just north and south of Casita, and all the way back down to Opelika. So, yeah, Chambers, you're right along with everybody else in East Alabama. I think we're looking at a total of 2 to 4 inches now instead of 6 to 8. And we're going to continue with showers, occasionally very heavy rainfall, probably through midnight tonight. And then we'll have a few showers from time to time for the rest of the overnight, and maybe even a few showers tomorrow, but it won't be anything like what you're seeing tonight. Jennifer's asking, when will the rain be out of here? Probably around midnight. The heaviest part of it will be gone. Yeah, Harold, you're right. I mean, he's showing 0.6 of an inch of rain so far. That's about right. That goes right along with the other readings that I've been able to find. But hang in there, Mr. Harmon, because we do have a very heavy band of rain that's coming your way. And like I said, we could easily pick up a quick inch, maybe even 2 inches out of this band of rain. It's very heavy. Good water. As Miss Donna McKay, Mayor McKay, Your Honor. Thank you. Tell my buddy Dale I said, hey, and happy birthday once again. Pee-wee says there is a steady rain in his house, but so far the hairspray is holding tight. Martha is in Woodland, Deborah Brown in Roanoke. There's Emily Hendricks in Valley, Alabama. Lots of folks watch us down there in Valley, and I appreciate that. I have a little connection to Valley, Alabama. Beauregard. Well, yeah, Beauregard's gotten a lot of rain. You're down there on the south end of the coverage area. So I'm telling you, the south end of our coverage area has gotten a ton more rain than what we've seen on the north end. We're talking south of I-85. And, you know, if you were watching 2 or 3 days ago when I was talking about all this, I made the statement then several times that I thought the heaviest rain would stay just south of I-85. And that's definitely what we have seen happen. And we've got this massive rain coming down now, down there in Beauregard. That's Beauregard right there. Well, there's the stadium. So that's Beauregard right there. And you can see it's some of that red rain. It's some of that red rain that Pee Wee was talking about. Red, not good. You want to see green. Green is very light. Peachtree City, Georgia. There's Gina. Thank you, Gina, for checking in with us on Dr. Don's weather page. Got some great friends of mine that happen to work in Peachtree City at the National Weather Service. Peachtree City is a neat place, folks. If you've never been there, it is a golf cart community. I mean, there are folks that ride around Peachtree City on golf carts like you and I drive cars and trucks. It's pretty cool. Got to watch out for them, though. They'll get you. There's Brenda back in here from Chester, Georgia. Christy's in Roanoke. Joyce is also in Roanoke. Trudy Green. Good evening, Trudy. Tricia Hawthorne up in Newell, Alabama, Randolph County. Roy Ann Hodges. There's Kathy Smith. Kenny. Well, hello, Nancy Wilson. Nice to have you with us. Amber. Teresa. Tana. Mary Duke. And let's scroll back down. If you haven't noticed, I go backwards. It's just easier to do that. That means I catch the most soonest messages first. And the odds of you still being on with us are greater. So I start from the bottom and go up. And that does get a little confusing when you have comedians in here like Pee Wee. Because you get the punchline before you get to the joke. But then again, that's Pee Wee anyway. So see, I can throw a good one out there every now and then too. Pretty good gust of wind at Abbott's Ford. Yep. Don't doubt that at all. That's because of that red you see over there. And that's how this works, folks. When you get torrential rainfall like that, especially in a tropical setup like we have tonight, that heavy rain pushes the wind to the surface. So it mixes the wind down to the surface. So where you see the red, the winds are also most likely a little more gusty. Yeah, well, Pee Wee is self-proclaimed hilarious, but yeah, I'll go along with him. He can throw some good ones out there. Donna Steele watching us in the Malone community on the Tallapoosa River. Donna, you know that you are under a river flood warning over there on the Tallapoosa. Don't expect anything major. I mean, unless you live right down there next to the water. We should go into flood stage, and we may not go into flood stage now because we just haven't received the rainfall that was expected along the Tallapoosa River Basin. But if it does happen, it won't be tonight. It'll probably be sometime tomorrow. And even then, we're only talking a couple of feet above flood stage, and generally that only gets low-lying areas and pasture land, so it shouldn't be a problem. Jenny Coxwell. Hello, Jenny. Hello, Tiffany. Chance is watching us from Wadley. Says there hadn't been a whole lot of rain just yet. He has been seeing frogs jumping around all night long. They probably came from Frog Eye. Jay Revis, watching us tonight from St. Pete Beach, Florida. He says they got some thunder down there. Yeah. See, Jay, you're on the south end of this thing, and you're right there where the feeder bands are coming in off the Gulf of Mexico and rotating up through northwest Florida, South Georgia, and then going back and circling back into what's left of Sally. And so you're down there in that area, though we haven't seen any severe weather down there at St. Pete Beach. The only severe weather we have seen so far has been in extreme southern Georgia, but you're down there where the feeder bands are the most potent. So a severe thunderstorm or two certainly not out of the possibility where you are watching us from this evening. Thomas is asking a question. Is this TV or just internet? Well, Thomas, to answer your question, it could be a little bit of both. But I think you're asking, are we actually broadcasting on television? And the answer to that is no. But if you have a smart TV that either will allow you to log on to Facebook, search the internet, or pull up YouTube, if you have the YouTube app on your smart TV, then you can search for Dr. Don's weather page on YouTube. Or you can just search for Dawn Strength. That's an easy way to find it, too. Or you can go to our Facebook page and just look at any of our primetime forecast, and there's a link on top of every one of those weather forecasts that will take you to our YouTube channel. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, click on the little bell so that you get notified when we go live for severe weather, and you can watch our broadcast on your television. Resolution is 100 times better than a small cell phone or an iPad. Of course, iPad's pretty good, but I'm talking about a smaller tablet or your phone. I understand it's a little difficult to see the radar in detail, but you can watch us on your television if you can get to YouTube and find our YouTube channel. That's a good question, Thomas. Thank you. Hey, that would be a cool idea, though, and I've actually started looking into doing a Roku channel. That is one of the possibilities that's sitting back there on the back burner. It's rather expensive to get started. Then the monthly cost is not that bad, but it's pretty expensive to get it up and running. But that is something I would like to accomplish, so you guys keep supporting me, and we'll see if we can make that happen. And if you'd like to support what we're doing, the link to do so is right there on the screen. It's paypal.me/DrDonWX.com. It is quick, it is secure, and we appreciate anything you can do to help us out. Woodland, Alabama in the house. Okay, so here goes another St. Pete, Florida. I must have a couple of people at the same residence watching us. This is Ray Johnson. Ray is saying, good thunderstorm at St. Pete, Florida. We're getting the tail end of it. I'm watching for my family once again in Roanoke and Wadley. Well, thank you, Ray, for joining us. And as I was just explaining, I don't know if you were on just yet when I was talking about that area of Florida. But you're down there where the feeder bands are coming in off the Gulf of Mexico. So if there is to be any more severe weather, and I quite honestly don't think there will be, you're in a prime spot to see that. We've lost the heating of the day, so these storms have calmed down considerably. Earlier this afternoon, we did have multiple tornado and severe thunderstorm warnings in South Georgia. But those storms have since died down significantly. So we could still have a pop-up thunderstorm here and there or tornado. Thunderstorms will continue in that area, but we could have an occasional severe storm, but I don't think it's going to be widespread tonight. Tim's asking the question about the winds for Woodland. Woodland's a little higher elevation than the rest of Randolph County. You get up there on the hill, so you could see wind gust of, maybe 20, 25 miles per hour, but nothing significant, nothing more than just an average afternoon thunderstorm. All right, we've lost our radar. Let's see if we can get that back. Well, I guess this would be a good opportunity to switch over to Birmingham. There we go. Now that's level 3, so that's not showing. Actually, that's not Birmingham either. Bear with me, folks. We're doing this all together live and in living color. Yeah, there's Birmingham. That looks a little better. And again, as we were talking just a few moments ago, that heavy rain band is now up in southern Randolph County. It's not nearly as pronounced as it was when it was down here in Chambers. But still, a band of really heavy rain stretching from, let me take you back full screen radar so you can see the detail here. So basically from about Ridgeway over in Heard County down to High Shoals and Randolph, down to Crystal Lake just north of Roanoke, right across Broughton Ridge, then from Dickert to just south of Wadley down to Daviston, and then on down into Tallapoosa County to a point just north of Jackson Gap. That's where some really heavy rain is falling. And some moderate rain continues across northern Chambers County from Markooth over to Amity Park, back to Buffalo. 5 Points has got some pretty good rain going. Doublehead, Milltown. And then up in northern Randolph County, you've got some light to moderate rain in Wedowee. But if you get up there just north of Woodland, north of Wedowee Marine, you got some breaks in it where you don't have much of anything going on. Just east of Hawk there where you see the green, that's just probably just mist. Light rain up there at Bucktown. Ranburn's got some light rain falling in Bowden. You come over here to Chulafini, you got light rain, but that's the back edge of it. That green is going to be pretty light. The yellow is a little more than light. The orange is moderate, and the red is the heavy stuff. Still got some pretty good rain going on up there at Mount Cheehaw, Barfield, Lineville, things calming down there also in Ashland. And if we go back over here to around Waldo, again, there's the back edge of the rain. Let me zoom back out so you can see the big picture. Once the yellow moves through your area and you get into the green, you're on the back side of it. Clanton, Alabama, about to get completely out of it. Birmingham already is. We've got one little area down here below Selma, but that's moving off to the northeast. Montgomery is almost out of it, maybe another hour or so down there. Still got torrential rainfall in Tuskegee, Union Springs, Eufaula. Eufaula's about to get hammered. That is massive rain coming into Eufaula. That's a 2-inch per hour rain right there. But the good thing is maybe in about an hour to hour and a half, that will be cleared through Eufaula. So another couple of inches to go down there, and Eufaula will be okay. Columbus has got another 2 to 3 hours before the back edge clears Columbus, maybe 4 hours. Auburn, you got another couple of hours to go. Lynette, maybe 2.5 hours. LaGrange, probably about 3 hours. Roanoke might get caught in this, if this continues down here below Montgomery. If everything moves in this to the northeast, Roanoke will probably emerge out of it back here just below Clanton. So maybe another couple of hours, 2 to 3 hours for Roanoke. Alexander City, a couple of hours, you're out of it. Like I said, LaGrange, probably about 3. So I think we're going to fare a lot better on this thing than we could have. The overall complexity of the storm has certainly decayed over the last several hours. The northern fringes of the circulation has really fallen apart. The really heavy rain has been confined to an area probably about 25 to 30, maybe 40 miles to the north and to the east of what remains of the center of circulation. That's where the really heavy rainfall has continued, while the northern fringes has kind of dropped off over the last couple of hours. Tuskegee, we've talked about you several times tonight, Tuskegee, because I'll just go back to that. You've got some heavy rain moving through right now, right there just south of I-85. Lionel Richie country, Tuskegee, Alabama. But the good news for you, Tuskegee, maybe another hour, and you'll be out of it. I think you'll be out of the heavy stuff in about 45 minutes, but another hour or so, and you ought to be completely out of it down there in Tuskegee. No power in Clarkville. Okay. That's the first report of power outage I have seen. I mean, there may have been other power outages, but that's the first I've seen. So that's good information. Thank you, Renee. Hey, Billy Green. All right, so no power down in Dothan. That I would expect. Dothan took a lot of those heavy feeder bands coming off the Gulf Coast earlier today. So don't doubt for 1 minute that there's power outages down there. Anywhere south of I-85 wouldn't surprise me as far as power outages are concerned. I think they would just be scattered for the most part until you get down there to the Wiregrass area. Donaldsonville, Dothan, Enterprise, Elba, Andalusia, those areas wouldn't surprise me at all to see widespread power outage. Lauren's asking a question about Pine Mountain. Well, it certainly will be worse in Pine Mountain than it is in other areas across East Alabama, because what's left of the center of circulation is likely going to pass very close to Pine Mountain. Pine Mountain over here in Harris County. They're northeast of Columbus. Right there, the north end of Harris County, north of Hamilton. You've had some heavy rain, and you can see you got some big red blobs down there, as Pee Wee calls it, the red rain, coming right at you. It's raining heavily now in Hamilton. Let me stop it. You got very heavy rain from Waverly Hall over to Hamilton. And that heavy rain in Hamilton is stretching all the way back down to Columbus. So that's going to be pretty significant for you, Pine Mountain. That's probably going to hang with you for at least a couple of hours. And then as we look down south, you have more coming at you. So rainfall totals, yes. You stand to pick up a lot more rain in the Pine Mountain area before this is over with. Yeah, that's another great idea, Jennifer. Install the Facebook Watch app on your smart TV. Absolutely. That's what I was saying. If your smart TV allows you, some of the older ones don't, but if your smart TV allows you to do things like put the Facebook Watch app on there, the YouTube app, or surf the internet. Some folks have theirs set up so that they can. Some smart TVs give you very limited access to the internet, but others will let you do more things. So if you can set your TV up to get to Facebook, YouTube, or Dr. Don's website at drdonwx.com, our live stream is over there as well. It's also on Periscope. So there are multiple ways to watch us. And if you have a smart TV, that's your best bet because the resolution is tenfold. I have a big monitor in front of me, and I monitor the feed, and it's the resolution is just insane. But it's got to be on something bigger than just a small cell phone. Of course, cell phone's all you got, that's fine. I mean, you can certainly still get the information. It's just that being able to see the radar and pick out exactly where you are in the radar is much easier on a bigger screen. Really? So Renee says no, she doesn't even know the other person that was on from the same area that she's watching from. What are the odds? That's pretty cool. Thank you, Renee. Or Ray, I'm sorry. See, there comes Jay. He comments right below her. It was just a coincidence. That is crazy. But I'm glad. I'm glad to have you guys in here with us. Feeder, Pee-wee, feeder. All right, Neil's asking the question, what's the current track of the storm? We've lost that capability, Neil, because the Hurricane Center has, they've pitched the tent and gone to the house on Sally. They're no longer tracking Sally because she's no longer something that the National Hurricane Center tracks. The National Weather Service offices now will take over, and they don't provide a track. But I can tell you, I can give you one. What's left of the center of circulation of the old gal is down here between Troy and Clio. Though this may not look nearly as pretty as what the National Hurricane Center would put out, I will give you a track. And so we're looking at something along these lines. And then a little bit of a curve back over to the east. So we're talking between Eufaula and Union Springs, either Columbus or just south of Columbus, between Thomaston and Butler, that's in Georgia, just north of Macon, maybe up there around Forsyth, and then to between Eatonton and Milledgeville, and then exiting Georgia somewhere over or just north of Augusta, and then continuing on up into South Carolina to a point just north of Columbia. So I hope that answered your question. And she's still moving at about 7 miles per hour, which I'm a little bit surprised. I thought she would gain some forward speed, but she's still moving at about 7, which has been the case since mid-afternoon or so. Denise says the wind is picking up in Roanoke. That's because of that heavier rain that you've got over Roanoke right now. It's mixing some of that wind down to the surface. Again, where you see the reds and the oranges, that's heavy rainfall. And that is going to push some of that wind down to the surface. Angie's watching us in a Banda. I can answer that question for you, Chance. Pee-wee has not worked a day in his life, so the answer would be no. Shirley says she's got some pretty good wind blowing. See, Pee-wee agrees with me. He's never been accused of working. Titus, Alabama. Are we talking about Titus over in Elmore County? I'm assuming we are. Elmore's about out of it. You got probably another hour or so of heavy rain, and then you're done. So you don't have a whole lot. Central Alabama is just about done with Tropical Storm Sally. Montgomery, the south end of Montgomery is already done with it. North Montgomery out there by the Northern Bypass, where you go north to Prattville, some heavy rain right there along the Alabama River where the river bridge is. between the Prattville and Montgomery exit. But probably another 30 minutes north Montgomery's out of it. Watauga County, you got a little longer to go because of that tail end of it there that stretches back down below Selma, down to around Oroville. But once that pushes through Watauga County, then you're done too. So probably another, 90 minutes or so for Watauga County. Probably another 30 minutes or so for North Montgomery County. Another hour or so for most of Elmore County. Clanton, you're about done with it now. Coosa County's probably got another hour to go. Tallapoosa, Clay County, probably a couple of hours. Randolph, probably a couple of hours. Clay, the back edge of it's already moving into western Clay. Chambers, though, may continue to get rain for another 2.5, maybe 3 hours. Same for Lee County. Down there at Tuskegee, Union Springs, you're probably an hour, maybe a little bit more. Eufaula, you got about another 35, 45 minutes or so. Columbus, a couple of hours. LaGrange, maybe 2.5 to 3 hours. That's kind of the way it looks right now as far as how much more we have to go. Not going to be an all-night soaker like we thought. This Sally has just weakened rapidly in the last couple of 2 or 3 hours, which is exactly what we wanted to see. Alexander City, 20 to 25 gusts max. If you get under one of those heavier rain bands, you could see a gust maybe to 30, but that's it. And you do have a pretty good heavy band over Alexander City right now, though it's just barely north of downtown Alexander City, so I'm not sure exactly where in Alex City you live, but if you're on the north side, then you're getting some of that heavy rain. But yeah, we're not going to see anything across East Alabama that's going to cause any major problems associated with wind. The ground is saturated, and a gust of wind could knock a tree down, but we're not looking at high winds for an extended period of time that's going to cause damage. Thank you, Nancy. Appreciate the comments. Thank you, Thomas. I'm glad you found us also. Thank you, Angie Brown. I appreciate those kind words. Oh, good Lord. That comes Jackie Brown. You need to be telling me what's going on at Tybee. Why are you asking me questions? You're there. Unless they ran him out from down there, he may have eaten up everything along the Atlantic coast. All right, let's jump on 16 over here in Macon and ride down to Savannah, Tybee Island. Let's see if I can get the National Composite back up. For some reason it went south on me a while ago. Look at there. All right, Jackie Brown. Right now, Tybee's in good shape. I mean, just some light rain, maybe a mist. The heavy stuff is down there just north of Brunswick, down there around Darien. Heavier rains over there around Hinesville and Jessup. All of this is rotating in the general direction. Put it in motion, you can kind of see that. This cell down here west of Brunswick has had a history of going severe and even producing a couple of tornado warnings this afternoon. But everything is rotating to the north and in your general direction if you're down there tonight. So probably another couple of hours, you may hear some rumbles of thunder. Let's just zoom in on, there's Tybee Island, right there. But look, folks, if you're going down there in the next couple of 2 or 3 days, if Jackie's down there, you pack your lunch and carry your food with you, because he's shaking his head. Yeah, he knows what I'm saying. There probably isn't anything left down there to eat. And if you hadn't been to Tybee Island, or if it's been a minute since you've been down there, I invite you to go. It is not the Gulf Coast by any shape, form, or fashion. I grew up on the Gulf Coast, and Tybee Island is not the Gulf Coast. But in its own way, it is special, and it is certainly a neat place to go. And I encourage you to do that. Sapelo, well, not Sapelo. Well, I mean, that's a neat place too, but St. Simon's is what I was trying to say. And Jekyll Island, they're both cool places down there as well. All these little towns down the Atlantic coast on the Georgia side are just cool places. Darien is one of my favorite places. There's a restaurant there called, what is it, Jackie? BJ Seafood? I think that's the name of it. Oh, Lord have mercy. They got a buffet. I was down there about a month and a half ago on a mission, and we fell up in that place. Of course, producer Tracy ate twice what I ate. That's some good eating right there at Darien. There's two fantastic restaurants there. There's another one down here at the foot of the bridge. I can't remember the name of it, but it's good too. And then, of course, Brunswick, they've got all kind of neat places there. You can go out there on St. Simon's. St. Simon's, it's got a cool little town there where you can go and do all kind of shopping, and it's just a neat place. So there you go, Jackie Brown. There's your report for Tybee Island. And let me go back to Birmingham, because that, for some reason, the National Composite looks a little anemic right now. I think that's a better depiction of what's going on. This is the next rad out of Birmingham. Thank you, Patty. Wetumpka. I'll go with another hour in Wetumpka, maybe. You got some very heavy rainfall over Wetumpka right now. But the back edge of all of this is over northern Montgomery and rotating in your general direction up 231. So probably another hour. Wetumpka will be fine. Renee's reporting heavy wind, heavy rain. Daviston in the house. Hey, Dana. No, ma'am. There's always a chance. You'll never hear me say no completely. I almost did. You almost got me to do it. There's always a chance, especially when you have a tropical system spinning overhead. But the chance of severe weather across any of East Alabama north of I-85 tonight is minute. It would be an oddity. Yes, it could happen, but I would be extremely surprised. And any threat that there is will be waning quickly this evening as the back edge of this stuff moves through your area. And Dana, for Daviston, probably another couple of hours, maybe 2.5. And you'll be on the backside of what's left of Sally. Pee-wee. That's right. Feeder band. Nan's watching us at work in West Point. Thank you, Nan. Bria's got us tuned in on the Ridge in Randolph County. All right, thanks, Mark. Mark has really helped me out tremendously, and buddy, I appreciate it. Mark has given me some information so that I can monitor local rain gauges all across, not just East Alabama, but really anywhere across the country. And that's tremendous because earlier when I started this broadcast, I was able to give you a comparison of what the rain totals look like on the north end of our coverage area versus the south end. You can see that I-85 is pretty much the division line on where the heavy rain has been and where the light rain has been. I'm talking about accumulation-wise. And so Mark was sitting at a little over a half inch when we started, so now he says that they have now broken 1 inch at Bacon level, which is not surprising at all because you had that heavy band move right on top of you. Yeah, and that line now is up in northeast Randolph County, stretching back through central Clay County. Mark, too, if you're still in here with us, and you may have already answered my text message, I hadn't had a chance to check it since I went live, but or if anybody else can help with this, I'm looking for a way, and I can utilize Excel spreadsheet to grab data off the internet. I know how to do that. But I'm having some issues with it. I'll just, instead of getting in the weeds on it. So if anybody is proficient with Excel spreadsheet as far as gathering data or ripping data from websites, or using API services, that's the big thing. I'd love to talk to you and pick your brain, because I use Excel, I use the National Weather Service API service through Excel to gather data for our daily weather forecast, and I'm having some connection issues from time to time, and I know it's something that I don't have set up just right. So if anybody knows how to do all that very well, let me know. I'd love to talk to you. Cecilia down there on Newman Farms in Pennon, Alabama, says you can hear all that rain hitting that tin roof. Macon, Georgia, 12:30 tomorrow. Jackie Lee, should be clear. I think the rain probably will clear Macon sunrise in the morning. Maybe a little bit after. She's probably going to be closer to Augusta. The backside of the storm will probably be close to Augusta by 12:30 tomorrow. Now look, you just all up in my areas. I'm down in Forsyth quite often, which is just north of Macon. So you need to let me know where you're going now. You're getting all up in my neighborhood. Thank you, Ken. I appreciate the kind words. Thank you, Bria. Yeah, you need to shake your head. Burn some calories, Jackie Lee. Thank you, Valerie. Thank you, Sharon. I appreciate the kind words. Thank you, Miss Kelly, and good luck in the election. And thank you for your support on Dr. Don's weather page. I greatly appreciate you and your support, and I wish you the best of luck. Yeah, Ken, Roanoke is good for tonight. You're going to have rain. Rain's going to continue for another couple of hours. And some of that, as Pee Wee calls it, red rain that you see down there in Southern Chambers and back over to Columbus could rotate up through LaGrange and Heard County, Troup County and Heard County, and even up into Randolph and Clay. So we're not out of the woods completely. We still have the opportunity for several bands of heavy rain before all is said and done. But you can see the backside of it is already over there along the I-65 corridor in central Alabama. And as Sally continues to move off to the northeast, that backside, even though the rain's rotating in that direction, I know it's confusing. The rain is moving basically from southeast to northwest. The entire system is moving northeast. So, yeah, we still have a couple of good 2 or 3 hours to go, and there could be several bursts of very heavy rainfall anywhere in East Alabama over the course of the next 2 or 3 hours. But I don't think we're going to still be dealing with this at sunrise in the morning, which is what I had feared earlier. Five baby goats in the house. How about that, Dana? I have about 15 cats in the house. I thought I had it rough. You got goats in the house. Thanks, Sharon. No, but there's going to be some blocked folks as soon as I get off of this chance. It's taking things a bit too far. Thanks, Kevin. Hello, Connie, up in Tin Shop. Appreciate you. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate that. I was pretty sure you'd already responded. I hadn't had a chance to look at it. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Get with it, Pee-wee. No, you don't need to evacuate in Columbus. I mean, you got a lot of rain. No question about that. There probably will be some flooding down there on Riverwalk. That normally goes underwater pretty quick, but yeah, and there could be some localized street flooding around the city of Columbus for sure. Best thing to do, just stay in the house and you'll be fine. No need to evacuate anywhere in East Alabama or West Georgia tonight. Thank you, Deborah. We appreciate you. All right, folks, we are coming up on 8:41 Central Time. I'll carry you back up here. I know Jackie will appreciate this. Boom. Loveliest village on the plains. Toomer's Corner, Auburn, Alabama. We've been kind of watching this camera all afternoon. Well, I watch this camera all the time, but this afternoon we've been kind of watching it to kind of judge the rate that the precipitation was falling. And we have gone through periods of rain here at Toomer's Corner where it was really hard to see that College Street sign that you're looking at. But right now, not that bad. And zooming in on the radar, they're in the yellow rain. Now, they've got some red rain coming. It's just south of them. But right now, they're in the yellow rain. I'll just put it in simple terms so Pee-wee can understand what we're talking about. Oh, look, the streets in Auburn turn blue when I zoom in to street level. Isn't that special? I had nothing to do with it. But there's Auburn. Let me take you back to the radar right quick. Because this is going to be a cool feature when we have spring severe weather or if we have some severe weather in the fall. This allows us to zoom in that close on your location and tell you where the path of the storm is going. And this is going to be a very good tool for us to use during severe weather outbreaks. But as you can see, Auburn is in the yellow. Now let me take you back to Toomer's Corner, and that's what yellow looks like. It's just a shower. It's not that bad at all. And then when I zoom out, though, you see that we do have some red just south of Auburn that's moving in that general direction. So things will get a little heavier on the Toomer's Corner camera here in just a few minutes when that red rain moves through. So let's just go, let's see here if we can find some heavy rain. Well, let's look at Roanoke while we are here. Ooh-wee, that was a little too tight. And there's the city of Roanoke. There's Wright Field, there's Handley Middle School, intersection of 431 and Highway 22 up there at corner 1. There's the city of Roanoke, Knight Inlow, Randolph County Learning Center up here at 22 in North Main. And here's another feature that we have that will be pretty neat during severe weather center season. Look at there. Oh, I know. I've got it set on rollover. I can actually set it up so that I can make that stick. But right now it's set on rollover. So as I roll over a street, the name pops up. So it's, for instance, we have a severe thunderstorm that's southwest of Roanoke moving northeast at 30 miles per hour. We can actually zoom in this close and name the streets that the storm is going to move over. How cool is that? Oh, there we go. See? There's Lafayette Street. There's Radney Street. There's Louisiana Road. There's Davis Drive. So that's going to help us out tremendously when we get into severe weather. Now, I guarantee you there's not a television station in Birmingham, Atlanta, Columbus, Montgomery, or even Roanoke that can do this right here and show you street level mapping with road names in Roanoke, Alabama. And we can do this for any of the communities across East Alabama or West Georgia. I just happened to stop on Roanoke to give you this demonstration. So this is cool stuff right here. It is... This is high-tech stuff. As Robin said earlier, this is a long way from that old DTN radar we used to have at the radio station back in '92 when I first moved to town. All right, so Angie is asking the question, will it be raining tomorrow? Angie, we could have a scattered shower or two tomorrow, but nothing like what we've had tonight. For the most part, tomorrow will be, I think we see more dry than wet tomorrow. Let's put it that way. I don't anticipate anything like this. There's nothing in Tuscaloosa I need, Pee-wee. But if you're talking about the weather station, so I can see what the temperature is over there and weather conditions, I actually found a link to several over there. And if we have tornadoes break out on that side of the state that's coming in our general direction, I'll use them. Over there. You know where over there is. Thanks, Robin. Thanks, Gail. I appreciate that. That certainly does help because, as I was saying earlier, it does cost a penny to do this. I love it, and my heart's in it, and that's why I do it. But there are costs involved, so anything that any of you can do to help a brother out, I certainly do appreciate it. Thanks, Chance. Ricky, moving out of Randolph County, I think you got another couple of hours. Now, there certainly could be a shower or two after that, but as far as the moderate to heavy rainfall, another 2 hours, give or take 15 or 20 minutes. I think we're done. And Jeremy says that the rain and wind is picking up on County Road 87 in Woodland, Alabama. Used to live on County Road 87. It was on the Roanoke side, but still. I was on 87 Sunday, too. I got some folks up in Woodland. All right, so there you go, Woodland. And right now you got some yellow rain. Well, Pee-wee, I pretty much have you now. I mean, we're calling it yellow, red, and green rain, so where'd that come from? So as Pee-wee would say, we have yellow rain over Woodland, which is moderate. You get over there in the orange rain over here toward Swag and Morrison's Crossroads. The rain is heavier, but that's respectable right there at Woodland. And you got some red rain down here between Wadley and Roanoke that could clip Woodland as it moves off to the northwest. Also some stuff over here in Heard County, just west of Franklin, that could make it over there into Woodland. Understand and remember, folks, all this is not coming from the direction we normally see our rain come from. This is spiraling up from the southeast, moving northwest, while the entire system is moving northeast. So as the center of what's left of Sally gets south of the area and starts moving into Georgia, and the rain's going to switch and start coming out of the northwest. And then shortly after it switches to the northwest, it'll all be over with, because there is a very, very sharp cutoff on the back side of it, and I'll show it to you. Back edge of the heavy rain is stretching from Jacksonville to Anniston to Talladega, down to Childersburg, Stewartville, and down to about Whitehall down here along the Talbot County, Dallas County line, or Lowndes County line. And that is crazy rain right there coming through Prattville right now, from Millbrook, really from Eclectic down to Millbrook, Prattville, just south of Otaugaville down to Whitehall. Let's just see what that is. Yeah, some 44s in there. And what this is that I'm looking at, folks, this is the amount of, in the way radar works, the radar transmitter sends out a radio signal, and then it measures the amount of signal that's bounced back to it, and the amount of signal that's bounced back to the radar is determined by the density of the raindrops, or the amount of raindrops, or number of raindrops, the density of the water falling from the cloud. And so the higher this number we're looking at right here, the dBZs, the more radio energy that's being reflected by the storm and being sent back to the radar. So this number will go higher. Typical normal stuff is in the 20s and 30s. When you get up there in the 40s and 50s, you're looking at torrential rainfall. And you see we've got 46 right there at Prattville. Wetumpka's got 42, 43. There's a dark spot right there. There's a 65, 46, a 46, a 47. So that's heavy rainfall right there too. Just a little simplified explanation as to what I'm looking at here. And that's another thing that we can do here that you won't be able to get from a television station. Sometimes Span the Man will explain things. He's good about that, but he can't sit there on live television and answer your questions and go as far down into the weeds with it as we can. Not that he wouldn't want to. He loves doing that kind of thing. But time just doesn't permit when you're on live television, and understandably so. Yeah, we're in the mid 40s down there around Columbus. Up there in extreme northeast Randolph, right there along 431 at the Cleveland County line, we got some 40s. Roanoke's about 33, Ashland, Alexander City. Much heavier rainfall down here in Southern Chambers. Down to Columbus. Coming up on Pine Mountain, we had a Pine Mountain viewer in here earlier. You got some really heavy rain moving your way. And, of course, we can do other neat things, such as we turn on the velocity product when we have tornadoes or the threat of tornadoes, and we can look for that classic couplet where you see red touching green. And I know that you see some red touching green over here in Georgia, but that is so far removed from the radar site. That's just noise out there on the end of the radar beam. And that would not be anything to be concerned about. But what you would look for, right here, we've got a really good signal, which would be Clay, Randolph, Tallapoosa, Chambers, and you'd look real close. And what you would want to see would be a couple of 2 or 3 red pixels surrounded by green or something like that. And what that is telling you is, and the way the radar does that is, not only does it receive the signal back from the density of the water falling from the cloud, but it can determine the direction that those water droplets are moving. And so what it does, it will paint red pixels where the wind is moving away from the radar site, and green pixels where the rain is moving toward the radar site. And so if you have a very small area where you have wind going in 2 different directions, obviously you have rotation. So that's how that works. And that's something that we'll be using a good bit this fall and spring during severe weather. You look up here, you see that you have some light blue and green touching. If those blue pixels were red right there, that would be something to be concerned about, but it's not. So, but we have that capability. We can also look at the correlation coefficient. This is another product that's used, and they may have it turned off right now because it's not loading. Oh, wait a minute. Here we go. Yeah, it's just another view of pretty much the same type data. This helps to look for debris signatures when a tornado hits and it starts throwing debris up 25,000 feet in the air. This will show you that. Everything that the biggies use, we have access to. And this is not, we're not utilizing someone else's software. This is a software that we have purchased and that we use here on Dr. Don's weather page. And it's pretty amazing at what it will do. Hey, Joe Hawker. Your mama lives in Blairsville, right? Picking at you, Joe. Oh, what'd Pee Wee say? Okay, somebody was just saying they're glad that Pee Wee knows his colors. Well, he did pick up something in 3rd grade. He has trouble hearing, though. I think he needs to go see a doctor and get those hearing aids fitted a little bit better. Doesn't know the difference between a feeder band and what he was saying earlier. Hey, Ray Clark in Lineville. Torrential rainfall, very gusty winds at Casita, County Road 265, Lee County, right off of I-85, exit 70 near the truck stop. Can you be a little more specific about where you are? I'm picking on you. I know exactly where you are. Yeah, let's go down. Yeah, well, that's what I was just showing you down there in southern Chambers County. Right there. And that's Casita, but she's down here closer to I-85, and she's in the red rain. That's why she's calling it torrential, because it is. That is torrential rain. And that's moving north. So you folks up here in Valley, you're getting some of that. Lynette, you're about to get some of it. Let's see. Over here on the east side of Chambers County on Highway 50, moving to the north. Buffalo, over here just north of Lafayette. You're about to get a small spot to move right over you. If you're camping over on West Point Lake, Holiday Park, all this stuff down here is moving your way, and it's going to be, let's just say, I hope you're in a camping trailer, not a tent, because you're about to get soaked. All this stuff moving through Hamilton, Pine Mountain. It's going to move up through LaGrange, and it will probably make it up into Heard County and Randolph, too, before the back edge gets to you. So that's what I was saying earlier. We're not done yet. And this red stuff, again, you can pick up a quick inch of rain. I mean, like in 30 or 45 minutes, you could get an inch of rain with some of this red stuff, or red rain, as Pee Wee calls it. Sandra down in Valley, nice to have you. And you can probably concur with what I'm saying, that you guys are getting some pretty heavy rainfall down there right now. Thank you, Pee Wee. You know, I pick at you, but I love you, brother. I appreciate your kind words. I really do. I've got a couple of Alabama friends that we can cut up and have a good time, and we all know that's the end of it. Chuck Markham's another one. You know, it's good fun, and that's what it's supposed to be. When you start getting your feelings hurt when you're talking football, then there are other issues going on, because it's a ball game. But Pee Wee's one of the good ones. I always tell Chuck he's one of the good ones. Well, Pee Wee's one of the good ones too. Lavoy Caldwell's another good one. Mike Fisher's a good one, as far as football's concerned. Though he can get a little ugly. Chris Nelson can get real ugly. But he's a Florida fan, so. So Sandra says yes, getting some very heavy rain and wind in Valley. Bama Holloway watching us in Mellow Valley. Bama, I hope that you listen to God's Country, 90.9 FM out of Ashland. I do the weather forecast for them daily. If you hadn't checked them out, or if any of you have not checked out God's Country, I invite you to do so. Now, you folks over in Randolph and down over in Chambers and parts of Tallapoosa probably can't pick them up out of the air, because they are licensed to and Talladega, I think, and maybe part of Coosa. So their broadcast footprint is pointed in a certain direction, and that's by design. But all you have to do is download the Mixler app, and you can either go to God's Country website to do that. You can go to the Mixler website and do that. You can go to drdonwx.com. I've got a page just for God's Country. All you got to do is click on the menu at the top of the page and go over to the God's Country page. You can listen to them there. You can download the Mixler app onto your phone, which is probably the best option for you. And then you Bluetooth your phone to your automobile radio. And guess what? You're riding around listening to God's Country regardless. As long as you have internet access or data on your phone, you can listen to them anywhere. And the signal's actually better than FM signal out of the air because it's digital. There is zero loss of quality when you're listening to something in digital. So I invite you to do that. Pretty good programming. Kevin Moon and that whole bunch over there got it going on. It's they can get into some of the craziest conversations on the morning show. Plus, you get my daily weather forecast, so that that's a bonus. Yeah, well, Pee Wee, I'm not going to even touch that one. I'm going to let that one go. He knows we love him, though. All right, folks, we just rolled over the top of the hour. It's 9:04 Central. You've been tuned in to Dr. Don's weather page. We've been watching the remnants of what once was Hurricane Sally. Sally made landfall near Pensacola, Florida, between Dothan Island and Pensacola. That would put Gulf Shores and Orange Beach right in the middle. Landfall was achieved this morning around 5 a.m. as a Category 2. You remember when we left last night, we were talking about the possibility of a sudden burst of energy right there before landfall, and indeed, that's exactly what happened. And so she made landfall as Category 2. There is a tremendous amount of debris down there, a lot of flooding. The debris can be put back fairly easily, but there's a lot of damage from flooding, and that may take longer. A lot of debris out in the roadways, a lot of facade damage to a lot of the buildings down there, especially right there on Frontage Road, right there close to the beach. But it was not as bad as it could have been. The flooding is serious, and it's going to take them a while to clean up from all the flooding. But as far as wind damage, that was not as bad as it could have been. Another 10 mile per hour, if she'd gone to, 120 mile per hour, 130 mile per hour, and if she'd had a few more hours out in the Gulf, that's probably what it would have happened. Now you're getting into catastrophic damage area. But just under that, and thankfully we didn't have massive damage from wind. Then she continued to move off to the north, and then eventually turning off to the northeast. Came up through South Alabama, Andalusia, came up near Luverne, Alabama, pretty much taking the track that we showed you last night when we went off, pretty much ran parallel to I-65, maybe a little bit further east than the track we had last night, but only by a few miles. Ran pretty much parallel to I-65 and then got up there just south of Troy and started jotting on off to the northeast a little bit more, and now the backside of what's left, you see that meso circle right there, that little green thing that's spinning? That's telling us there's rotation in the upper levels of the atmosphere, and that most likely is the center of circulation of what's left of Tropical Storm Sally, once Hurricane Sally. And so that's just northeast of Troy, Alabama. So that's about where I would put the center of circulation right now. And the other significant thing is we felt like we were going to have at least 10 hours, maybe 12 hours of very heavy rainfall across East Alabama and West Georgia. And so the northern fringes of Sally just kind of fell apart. We still have rain, but it's not on the level that we thought we were going to see. So the original estimate was 6 to 8 inches of rain. I've backed that down to 2 to 4. And I think we're going to come in somewhere between 2 and 4 inches. Some locations will get a little bit more than others. But north of I-85, 2 to 4, I think, is going to be the idea. South of I-85, I still go with 2 to 4, but there could be some localized 5 to 6 inch totals. We've already seen 8 and 9 inches down there around Troy and Enterprise, back over toward Greenville, Eufaula. But I think as a general rule, 6 to 8 is going to be pretty consistent down there south of I-85. And you've still got a couple of hours to go for most of East Alabama and West Georgia, and you'll see that red rain, as Pee Wee calls it, is slowly working north. So we've got very heavy rainfall over most of Troup County, most of Harris County, down into Muskogee. Southeast Chambers County's got very heavy rainfall. Eastern Lee County's got some very heavy rainfall right now. And then from southern Chambers down through south central Tallapoosa, just north of Tallahassee, down across most of Elmore County, Wetumpka, back over toward Millbrook, even down into Prattville, and back over to around Otaugaville, some very heavy rain. All of this is spinning around that leftover circulation from Sally, so it's kind of rotating back to the northwest and then eventually to the south, while the entire system is moving off to the northeast. So all this red stuff that you see will move. All of this stuff over here that you see will move. Let me just paint it for you right quick. We're fixing to wrap this up, but I wanted to show you a couple of things here. Get on the right monitor for this to work. All right, that's the leading edge of the heavy rain band. And it is moving in this general direction. So all of this will rotate north and west over the next couple of hours. So eventually you'll get some heavier rains up there. We've already got pockets of heavy rain in Randolph and Clay and all of our coverage areas, but you'll get some more consistent heavy rain rotating up into that area over the next couple of hours or so. And I still feel good. It's 9:10 now. Yeah, we may be looking at 1 o'clock before it gets completely out of the area. So maybe another 2 to 3 hours. And still could see some rain after that, but it won't be the heavy stuff, I don't think. Fantastic question, Angie. Angie's asking the question, with all the red rain, can tornadoes spin off of that, or is it just too cool for tornadoes right now? The severe threat with a landfalling hurricane typically is in the east and southeast quadrant of the storm, which would be down here, Americus, over to Hazelhurst. We're talking over in Georgia, Tifton. That would be the southeast quadrant of the storm. And the reason that is because the hurricane or the tropical storm is feeding off the Gulf of Mexico. It's pulling that moisture in off the Gulf of Mexico. And that moisture is more intense as it's turning that base down there and trying to curl back into the center of circulation. So that's what causes severe weather with tropical systems. Typically, the north end and the northwest end, and certainly the west side of the circulation, sees very little severe weather because that's just not where the energy is. The energy is back down there where it's pulling up out of the water. So the red rain, as Pee Wee calls it, in this particular case, north of I-85, very, very little chance of seeing anything tornadic or even anything severe. South of I-85, the chances would be better, but they're still not good. You got to go way over here in south central Georgia before you get into the area where it's possible. And we did have multiple tornado warnings this afternoon. Just as predicted, as soon as the sun went down, all of that went away because we lost some of the intensity. So I would be surprised to see any warnings issued during the overnight hours. Now, tomorrow, once the sun comes back up and we get some heating in the upper levels of the atmosphere, the storm will be over in eastern Georgia or maybe even western South Carolina by that time. But I would certainly expect to see some severe weather warnings over there, probably in the afternoon hours on your Thursday. But by that time, we'll be sitting high and dry and all dressed up and ready to go over here in East Alabama. So, Angie, I hope maybe that answered your question. Chance, Sally was moving, her forward motion was 3 miles per hour when she made landfall. Well, I've seen 2 miles per hour, and I've also seen 3. I'm not sure exactly what the National Hurricane Center has officially clocked it at, but between 2 to 3 miles per hour when she made landfall. That was the forward motion. Her wind speed was 105 miles per hour. And then shortly after landfall, maybe a couple of hours, she picked up in forward speed, which is also typical of landfalling hurricanes, and started moving forward at about 7 miles per hour, and she's maintained that. Last update, that's where she was, at 7 miles per hour. Thank you, Carla, and welcome in from Daviston. All right, folks, so we have been going now for, well, I can't see it. Why can't I see it? Oh, we don't want to do that. Almost lost you. An hour and 37 minutes, so we're about to wrap this up. I don't see anything severe. I don't see any threat of severe. I'm just looking at maybe, possibly, Mark was saying that he finally topped 1 inch at Bacon Level. That's a pretty good location to judge for Randolph and Clay, Northern Chambers, Northern Tallapoosa, Northern Coosa, probably all about the same. Went over 1 inch probably about 30 minutes ago. So, another inch is certainly possible. Maybe inch and a half. So, yeah, you're going to end up right there at 2 to 2.5, maybe 3 inches of rain across most of the north end, which is in that range of 2 to 4 inches, which is what we've gone with now for a couple of hours. So, maybe another inch or so. And then you folks down there along and south of I-85, maybe another inch or 2. Winds could get gusty from time to time. When you get into those heavy rain bands, that's when the wind will pick up because it's mixing that wind down to the surface. So don't be alarmed. If it starts raining real hard and the wind really starts blowing, that is to be expected with these heavy rain bands. When the rain lets up, then so will the wind. And that'll continue for another couple of 2 or 3 hours. And then by the time you get up tomorrow morning, I think the majority of this will be over in central Georgia at least, if not east Georgia. It'll still be cloudy tomorrow. We could see some sprinkles from time to time, a passing shower from time to time. We've got a few small showers popping up over there around Demopolis and just south of Tuscaloosa now. So we certainly could see some showers on your Thursday. But it won't be, as my granddaddy used to say, sot in rain all day long. It won't be that. And then by Friday, I know a lot of folks are still asking questions. I think we're still partly cloudy. We're probably still mostly cloudy Friday morning. By Friday afternoon, I think we will start to see the sun. We'll have a mixture of sun and clouds. Again, a stray shower can't be ruled out on Friday. But by the time we get to football on Friday night, I think we're going to be in good shape. Right now, officially, there's only about a 10% chance of rain on Friday night across most areas of East Alabama and West Georgia. So I don't think we're going to have a problem at all on Friday night football. I wanted to give you another quick peek at Toomer's Corner because we've got some wind going on down there. You can actually see the camera is shaking a little bit. Doesn't seem to be anything severe. And then you've got some respectable rainfall. As I made mention earlier, anytime you can actually see raindrops on a television screen, you can go to the bank with the fact that it is 10 times worse in person. for whatever reason, television just doesn't pick up raindrops very well. But you can clearly see raindrops there, and you can see the wind blowing pretty good too. Well, folks, I'm going to wrap this thing up and put this one to bed. We will have your primetime forecast up for you tomorrow afternoon. And we'll be taking a look at Friday. Our schedule's kind of gotten all out of whack this week because of Hurricane Sally. But I promise to get back on a routine schedule tomorrow afternoon for Friday. And we're also going to be keeping an eye on another system down in the southwest Gulf of Mexico. That could potentially be a problem for us in maybe by the end of the weekend or first part of next week. This was just an area of interest yesterday. Well, now the National Hurricanes, let's just run over there right quick and see if they've given us any updates on that before we bail out of here. All right, that's Invest 90. And by the way, this is a phenomenal website for those of you out there that may be geeks, weather geeks like me. It's spaghettimodels.com or Mike's weather page. You can get to it either way. This guy focuses on tropical weather. He's down in Florida, but he focuses on tropical weather more than anything else, and he is good. And this website is full of good information. All right, so again, this that I'm going to show you is certainly by no means official. This is just some guidance that we look at, preliminary guidance early on in the ball game. And you can see some tracks forming down there in the southwest Gulf of Mexico. It is drifting back to the east right now, but they are thinking it's going to turn back to the northeast. Some of the models have it doing the hokey pokey and turning all about over here in the western Gulf. But there are a few that bring it on back up toward Louisiana, and there's at least one that brings it up toward Alabama. And this would be toward the end of the weekend or the first part of next week if this were to happen. So far, nothing real official from the National Weather Service on this. We do have a couple of other models that we look at. This is This one has got a few more ensembles on it, and it shows it going back to the southeast and then turning northeast and then turning back northwest and then turning back northeast. When you start seeing models with all this jibber-jabber on it, that means the models don't have a clue what this is going to do. But if you look at it, if you back up, zoom out, and look at the overall picture, they're all pushing it north. And so it bears watching. If you were to believe this ensemble, they're all pushing it north into Texas. Though there's a few that curve it back off to the right, then they do the hokey pokey thing, which is nonsense. I mean, it could do that, but most likely it will not. So there's enough evidence here, looking at all these crazy lines all over this website, there is enough evidence here to suggest that we could have something coming up out of the southwest Gulf of Mexico that bears watching toward the end of the week or the first part of next week. So, this time tomorrow, this thing may be completely off the table, or we may be looking at something significant. Who knows? I'll bring you that information as soon as we get it from the National Weather Service. So, folks, thank you. Thanks, Dale Bradford. War Eagle to you, and good night. One quick question from Chad. When will the rain end in Lafayette? You're just like everybody else in East Alabama. You got another couple of hours to go. Maybe, the quickest I think that it will exit Alabama will be about 2 hours from now. The longest, 3 to 3.5 hours. So you're somewhere between 2 and 3.5 hours before the back end of it moves across East Alabama, and things will start to get better from there. Now, that's the heaviest rain. You could still have some light and moderate rain or drizzle linger on through the rest of the night, but I'm talking about high rate measurable rainfall probably another 2 to 3 hours across East Alabama, and all will be well. So I bid you a very pleasant good evening. Good Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. I'll be back in here with you on Thursday with your primetime forecast. Tell your friends and neighbors about us. Share us with everybody you know. Ask them to join us the next time that we have severe weather. Ask them to go over to Dr. Don's weather page and like our page. And then they can also go to our East Alabama weather group and request to become a member of our group. That helps us out tremendously as well. It helps our numbers, so we ask that you do that. And then also go over to paypal.me/drdonwx.com to help us out if you possibly can. We greatly appreciate it. We'll see you back in here on Thursday afternoon on Dr. Don's weather page. Good night, folks.